So not too much going on in the NBA over the course of the past 24 hours as far as it comes to free agency and the offseason and everything like that, unless you care heavily about every single day the back and forth between Kyrie Irving and the Lakers and Kevin Durant, and we don't know what's going to happen, man. Last I read, Kevin Durant isn't even picking up his phone anymore. Like, I guess superstars have reached out to him, and they're just kind of like, hey man, come play for us. And KD's like, I don't got control over that. So he's just not answering any phones. Plus, chances are the asking price for Kevin Durant, any of those superstars that he calls up, they're going to end up getting traded for him anyway. So yeah, I decided for today's video, it would be much more fun to overreact to the NBA Summer League. Before we get going on this video, guys, as soon as this channel hits 290,000 subscribers, which we are getting very close, by the way, I get to add another NBA member to the Crispy Crew right here. We got Luka Doncic and Damian Lillard, so a new player gets added every 10K subscribers here on this channel, which obviously we didn't start from zero because bitch-ass thing be filled with everything like that, man. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, we started that not too long ago, so can't wait to add on to the third player at 290K subs. But alrighty, so you guys see the Cade Cunningham highlights over there. He did not play in the first Summer League game for the Pistons. But basically, like, every few days, I'm just going to kind of look at what's been going on in the Summer League and talking about, you know, what I've really liked or maybe disliked and everything in between there, right, man? So let's start off, and we're going to go back probably to the beginning here, man. Just kind of talk about individual players and stuff like that. Last night, or I guess technically this morning, it was at midnight. They called it Midnight Madness or something like that. The Detroit Pistons played the Portland Trail Blazers. So looking at Portland side of things, how did they look in the first Summer League game? Shaden Sharp, who was their lottery pick, he had like one nice basket, and then I guess he had like a shoulder injury, and people are kind of nervous about what's going on there. Apparently it was just like a precaution. Like, I think he was even asked if he wanted to go back in the game, so it makes sense. Like, you know, Shaden obviously has injury history going back to, well, I would say the college days, but those didn't really exist. So I can see where, like, Portland fans are like, ugh, like, you know, not really a huge fan of that because you want to see the guy play, right? He's been such a big question mark. So yeah, not too much out of him. You had, Keon Johnson, I believe his name is, right? Yeah, Keon Johnson. I always think of the football player. Who's the football? Is there a Keon? There's a Keon in football. Wasn't he play for like the Panthers or something like that? I don't know, man. My mind always goes to him instantly though. But he had a really nice game. He's definitely gonna be a player to watch on the Portland Trail Blazers this season. Just a very athletic guard and everything like that. So yeah, that was kind of cool seeing if maybe he can play himself into a rotational spot next NBA season. Everything, he had 21 points, so good for him on that. And then the encore, at least as far as I go, well, you know, that's what I care about and everything. My Detroit Pistons, man. Oh my goodness. Let me put that phone down here for a second and let's just talk a little bit about this team, okay? So, where to start? Basically, first play of the game was literally Jaden Ivey ooping it up to Jalen Duren, who, by the way, could become my favorite Piston in time. Like, just looking at Jalen Duren, like, I'm like, how the hell is this dude not a 29-year-old veteran in the NBA? This is the boy in a man's body, straight up. And I don't know, just like his energy. I was kind of like, I was on Twitter and the Pistons, you know, posted something on Twitter, and I basically said he's Andre Drummond with energy, right? Like he's Andre Drummond trying. He's motivational Andre Drummond. That's exactly, man, how I think about him, which is a great player, by the way. That was always Drummond's downfall, is that he didn't always give it 100% with the motor and everything, right? So yeah, he looked great. He only had one rebound, but he had like 2 blocks. He played like 12 minutes. So I say, you know, man, it's hard to rebound on the basketball when you're throwing everything back, straight up Ben Wallace style. So he looked great. Ivey in the first half was, you know, I think he was a little jitterish, man. Like, you know, he's a very explosive, highly athletic player, and it seemed like just his adrenaline was really up. So he led to some rookie mistakes, you know, in the first half and everything. But he made a few 3-point shots. And he really turned it up in the fourth quarter and everything. Like, dude had like a nice like transition dunk and everything, just getting to the basket, really seeing that next gear that he has that not a lot of other players have in the NBA. So yeah, a lot of fun there. Loved, you know, what Killian Hayes was doing. You know, we're kind of scoring a little bit, but with Killian Hayes, the playmaking's there, the defense is there, and yeah, man, I think he's really gonna thrive as the second unit guy for the Detroit Pistons, kind of like a 6-man Ricky Rubio type of role is what I like to say with him. And beyond that, anybody else? Oh yeah, Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew, man. You guys might remember him as the person that against the Lakers took down like 20 people trying to stop him, like security guards and stuff like that, because he got punched in the face, essentially, man. They were playing him at power forward, and he was shooting some threes, making some threes too, because that was kind of my thing. It's like, I saw Duran was on this team, and I was like, well, what does that exactly mean for Beef Stew? But it looks like they want to try him at the power forward spot, and I really think it could work, because he has like that high energy explosiveness to him. If he's making that shot, stretching that floor, man, we could be like a thick Jeremy Grant or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really excited for how they're utilizing him. It's going to be a lot of fun. Isaiah Livers, he's a good basketball player. My issue is that I have no idea which position he should play. Like, he's a little too slow for a 2, but I don't know if he's quite like big enough for a 4, so maybe the 3 is the in-between for him. I don't really know, man, but he seems like, he kind of reminds me of like a Jalen Brunson in the sense of like his personality. Like Jalen Brunson was a great college player and got to the NBA, and people looked at his body and it was like, okay, we don't quite know how you're going to work out, but he plays with so much heart that Jalen Brunson's got a great contract with the Knicks not too long ago. So I feel the same way about Isaiah Livers. Like, body, not the optimal NBA body, but he plays with so much heart that the Pistons need, that, he'll find some playing time, plain and simple. So that was absolutely fantastic. Beyond that, yeah, not really too much else to address here. I thought it was a very fun first game to watch. So next up, the other game that I checked out was the Houston Rockets and the Orlando Magic, and this was an opportunity to watch Paolo Banchero versus Jabari Smith Jr. And let's start with the Houston Rockets. So one player that looked absolutely fantastic, looked good in last year's Summer League too, was Josh Christopher. Now, this is somebody that once upon a time was actually supposed to be a lottery pick, if I remember correctly. I think he might have had like some injury issues his freshman season or going into college. And I know he was supposed to go to Michigan, which is why I know about him and everything. He ended up going to a different college. I don't think he played like up to his like potential. Maybe similar to like Amoni Bates. Amoni Bates was supposed to be talked about like a lottery pick and everything. Now everybody's like, well, is this dude gonna make it to the NBA and everything, right? But yeah, so who was I just talking about, man? Let me literally just like it lost my mind. Oh yeah, Josh Christopher. Yeah, Josh Christopher. So yeah, he was cool and everything. No, I'm saying his name wrong. Tari Eason, I believe is how you say it. 14 points, 13 rebounds. And this guy looked like he got a little bit of everything out there. He looks like he's one of those jack of all trades NBA players that, yeah, maybe doesn't like excel in any one spot, but you can play him because if he's not scoring, he is rebounding the basketball or playing some defense. If he's not making his threes, he's taking to the basket or vice versa. So looked really fantastic there. And then Jabari Smith Jr., who a lot of people thought was going to go number 1 in the draft. He showed some good moments. There was some moments that you looked at him and be like, okay, he's got some things he still needs to work on. I do think the Rashard Lewis comparison is spot on. I think I've even seen some other people call him like a Chris Middleton type, like a taller Chris Middleton. He's going to need to learn to really handle the rock a bit better and create his own shot because, I think at the very least he could be a Rashard Lewis, catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Maybe not the biggest bag as far as the handles go, but as far as like taking to the basket, pretty basic dribble moves and stuff, getting over there, like can still slash and everything, has the height to make a difference defensively. I'm kind of seeing that, but I think for Jabari to really live up to that number 3 pick, he's going to really have to create for his own shot. He's got a nice little fadeaway on him. Jump shot looks very polished and everything. I think he's got that explosive ability. He's going to be a good player. I just feel like, first Summer League game, hasn't played game in months, playing against NBA caliber talent. I think if you think Jabari had a bad game, it's definitely an overreaction. Like he had some really nice moments, but my biggest overreaction now, looking at the Orlando Magic, Paolo Banchero. Oh my goodness. I am a fan. of Banchero. My comparison for him, just looking at his style of play, he very much reminds me of the Detroit Pistons' Blake Griffin, not as reliant on the athletic ability, but can still get to the basket and use it to his advantage, but can stay around that 3-point line, has some nice handles. His passing, oh my goodness, man. I'm talking like that Chris Webber type of passing, where you look at the big guy, you're like, yo, is that like that's the damn power forward with point guard passing abilities. Like, looks super, super good, man. Love the jump shot on him. Very nice and fluent. Great player, like Paolo Banchero, him with Jalen Suggs, as soon as that connection gets going, cannot wait to watch that blossom. Also looking at like Caleb Houston, who, I still think Caleb Houston maybe could have benefited from another year of college, but at the same time too, he had 20 points, was knocked down his 3-point shot, and he's looking NBA ready, at least in the summer league, right? So, yeah, a lot of good moments, I would say, last night as far as the games go. And yeah, I'm wondering, anything else I really want to talk about here? I mean, I feel like I've talked pretty good about like Chet. I talked about him a few days ago, so I don't got too much to say about him. He actually didn't even play in the last game. Grizzlies and Jazz played, and Zaire Williams, 19 points, good for him on that. Utah Jazz, 22 for Jared Butler. So Jared Butler actually has a really good opportunity to get some solid, playing time this season and everything. Last year averaged 3 points, 1 assist per game, but Mike Conley's aging and everything, and I think that team needs to get younger, and I think maybe giving Jared Butler some more PT is a good route to go. Also, Bruno Capocolo, 2 years away from being 2 years away, man, dropped 17 points, so shout out to him on that. You also got the 76ers, and I guess we already talked about that one right there, but yeah, Springer was 3 for 13. Yeah, one of my Philly fans pulled up and said, talk about how bad Springer is, man. All I think about is Jerry Springer when I hear his name. So, Isaiah Joe at 19 points. Good for him on that. But, yeah, man, like I said, pretty slow in the NBA news right now. So I want to talk about my Detroit Pistons a little bit. But that's all we got for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. And peace out, my friends.